Hey, good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Sandy. Somehow, looks like I might have lost my chats today again. I don't know what I did differently. Sorry. I don't know if you're here or not, but I can't tell today. Anyway, it's Tuesday. I turned off the lights because I was tired of having, those lights bearing down on me. What can I tell you? Um, Today is another day and the final day of Prime shopping. I think it's wrong to make up stuff you think you might need just so you can go shopping. Just saying. Although a little retail therapy within your means has always been a way for me to cheer up, so I guess I can't knock it. Hair's still down. It's not that hot. Oh, but I wish you could see the bird feeder out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are almost a dozen birds right at my window with this bird feeder. They just love that thing. Okay, so let me start with the Fritzy report. My nephew is visiting me. Hi, Mike. I know you're out there watching somewhere. He's staying in the casita. It's his apartment for a little bit. We went to see his grandma, my mother, yesterday. I can't tell you she knew who he was, but she loved having male company. She actually put her hands on his face and told him he was handsome. I put a picture of my father right next to him and said, "Doesn't he look like Lenny?" Because he does. And each time I told her that it was her baby son's son, she got a little confused and then she got happy all over again. And the two of us kept telling her rather, about the wedding. And it's so cute because each time you tell her about the forthcoming wedding of my son, Mike, yes, I know, nephew and son, it gets confusing. My son, Mike, and his fiance, Katie, she gets excited because she thinks it's the first time she's heard it. I love to tell her happy things because you can tell her happy things every 2 or 3 minutes and she's forgotten it. So she gets excited all over again. It's just precious, absolutely precious. I know how blessed I am to have this woman in my life. And I just want you to know I'm enjoying every moment of it, not just for me, just to share that joy with you. She is mama heaven on earth. No kidding. She's awesome. What's going on today? Oh, I wanted to show you something. I had to go buy Band-Aids yesterday, and I know it seems like a weird place to go, but I just happened to be in that shopping center. So I went into Bed Bath & Beyond figuring they'll have a good deal on Band-Aids and they'll have what I need, which they did. But as I walked by, I came across the deal of the century. They were getting rid of these charger plates. You know what chargers are? Some of you may not, but I have to tell you, if you have a Bed Bath & Beyond near you, there was a set of 6 of these charger plates for $3. I mean, it's like insane. So I bought a set. The chargers go under your regular plate. And I got to tell you, it is absolutely unimportant and unnecessary, except that it looks so glorious on your table. Last night, we set the table for the 3 of us with chargers and wine glasses, and it was like going out for a fancy dinner. Oh, that and the fact that dinner was terrific. But aside from that, here's to you. I said my nephew's here. So that means that tonight or for lunch, I'm not sure which, it is sushi nachos time. If you don't like sushi, this will not interest you. But if you like sushi, oh, this is the best. I mean, the best. About a year or so ago, well, more than a year ago, because it was before the pandemic, Mike and I used to like to go to the Yard House. And it's a chain restaurant, nice chain restaurant, for their happy hour because they had half price. Well, we didn't go because they had half price hors d'oeuvres, but they did, and they were great. And we ordered this thing called sushi nachos, which we had never heard of before, but we both like sushi and we both like nachos. So we figured, let's try it. And it was big chunks of albacore tuna and on tortilla, not on tortilla chips, on like a wonton chip, onions and avocado and good stuff, right? So then that pandemic hit, but we still wanted our sushi nachos. So I went and got all the ingredients that I could think of that might go in them and started making my own about a year ago. And I have to tell you, since California opened, I went back to the Yard House. I make better sushi nachos. Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. We're going to have them tonight. I'll take a picture and post it. It's yum, 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 yum. It is National Chocolate Eclair Day. Okay, so I'm not a huge dessert fan. I don't have a big sweet tooth, but there is one thing. Well, two things. I mean, the first one I told you is bear claws. Love bear claws. I just love bear claws. Okay, but number one all time, chocolate eclairs, not with cream. It has to have custard inside. A custard eclair. When I was little, my mama used to make these little cream puffs, and she taught me how to make them. I haven't made them in years, but you put vanilla pudding, which is like custard pudding, inside. After you make the little puff pastry, you fill it with the pudding, and then you drizzle chocolate on top. It's crazy good. Anyway, I loved chocolate eclairs. Still do. Don't eat a lot of them, but I love them. And so did my Grandma Millie. Now, that was my father's mother, little Grandma Millie. That's where I got my great height, was from that side of the family. Anyway, Grandma Millie and I both loved chocolate eclairs. She used to come and visit when we lived in California. I was already 16. I had a driver's license. Grandma loved eclairs. I loved eclairs. But she had a son, and I had a dad who would tell us how fat we were, and we shouldn't eat that, and we shouldn't eat this because we gain more weight, and blah, blah, blah. Neither one of us was fat, okay? We weren't. And we loved our eclairs. So we would sneak out of the house, the two of us, and I would drive us to the local bakery. We would go and buy eclairs, sit outside and eat our eclairs, and then come home. Yeah, I used to do like nasty stuff like that behind my father's back with his own mother. Yeah, it was kind of fun. No, it wasn't kind of fun. It was a great memory. Probably some of the happiest memories I have with my Grandma Millie. Yeah, stealing those times and having her buy me chocolate eclairs, and the two of us would sit and eat them. I had one grandma who was just like mushy love, you know, like the kind of grandma where you'd sit in her lap and you'd become enveloped in her. She would smile and her face would cave in because her dimples were so big. And the only thing bigger than her dimples, I think, was her heart. Oh, she was just squishy lovey. My other grandma, that was my Grandma Ida. My Grandma Millie, she loved us, but she was thoroughly modern Millie. Yeah, she was like the cool grandma. The very cool grandma. She's the one that you wanted to take you shopping. You would never go shopping with Grandma Ida. Wouldn't happen. But unless you were going to the market and you're going to buy some groceries, then you'd go with Grandma. But Grandma Millie, she was a fashionista. Even back then. Yeah. She had like the best shoes and purses and outfits, and everything was always put together. And when she would take me shopping, she would buy me these magnificent outfits with shoes that matched. And we'd get them home all excited. And my mother would say, "You're not wearing that. Take it back." There's always a fight about stuff like that. When my Grandma Millie died, I was the only one little enough to wear her shoes. And she had all really cool high-end shoes. I think what I got, you know, some people get money and they get excited. Not me. I got shoes and purses and I was delighted. I think that's why I'm still so matchy-matchy all the time, because my grandma was matchy-matchy and she left me matchy-matchy things. So that was good. There's a little thing here that says participants. Let's see what it says. Nothing. It's not telling me, it's blank today. Okay, let's see. In 1633, I love this. Galileo was forced by the church to recant his claim that the sun and not the earth was the center of the universe. I know people who think they're the center of the universe and the church doesn't bother them. Okay, I just thought that was interesting. Galileo got in trouble for saying it like it was. There was a lot of that going on back then. In 1942, I had no idea it was that late, Congress officially adopted the Pledge of Allegiance. Did you know that we didn't actually have it until then? And then when they did finally say, okay, this is our pledge, it was, I pledge allegiance to my flag. And then it got changed in 1923 to the flag. The whole purpose of this was for children, by the way, and it was to teach them, immigrant children, because they were all coming in after the war, I guess, and it was to teach them to be loyal to America. So it became the flag. And then, of course, there was that big controversy in 1954, and they took out under God, or they put in under God. And then there was the big deal of, no, I don't want to say God in the Pledge of Allegiance. And then finally in 2004, they made the pledge voluntary. But what I really thought was interesting was, we as kids, every morning at school, we would put our right hand over our heart and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Most of the time, kids didn't even know what they were saying. They just recited what they thought it was. And when you'd have a kid actually say the words to the Pledge of Allegiance, they didn't know what they were saying. And it was hilarious because they were making up words. But that's neither here nor there. Apparently, when it was first used, there was actually hand motions that went with it for children. This is for real. You'd put your right hand over your heart, and then during some point of it, you would put your hand out with your palm down. And they stopped doing that during the war because it was so much like the Nazis doing Heil Hitler. Isn't that interesting? So they just kept hand over your heart. Yeah, my country. I don't know about you, but when I'm at a baseball game or someplace where they play the national anthem, I stand up and put my hand over my heart. At kids' baseball games, I stand up and put my hand over my heart. I still say the Pledge of Allegiance. I still sing the Star-Spangled Banner, not very well, but I sing it. I'm proud to be an American. And every time I leave America, I come back more proud to be an American. There's a lot wrong here, but there's an awful lot that's right. Yeah. Wait. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Maybe we'll start morning coffee that way every day. Yeah. Happy birthday, Erin Brockovich. I mean, she was so cool, they made a movie about her. Yeah. In fact, she even came up in conversation the other day. Someone said, did you know blah, 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 blah? And the other person said, yeah, I saw Erin Brockovich twice. How about that? Huh? Also, Elizabeth Warren. Some of you are disappointed that she didn't become our president. She might have been a little too left for some people. Just saying. But amazing. Dan Brown, happy birthday. Great writer. Oh, in 1955 today, Disney's Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp. Oh, Lady. I always thought the Lady was so beautiful. Even though she was a dog, didn't you kind of what do you call that? Ampomorphic? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Meryl Streep's birthday. Now there's an actress that I didn't really like, and now I think she's amazing. I didn't really like her. I think it was because when I saw her in what was the movie she was seeing? I can't even read your comments, so I don't even know. But she was in the movie with Dustin Hoffman where she divorced him and left their kid. And I saw her in that movie and I didn't like her. And it took me a long time to start watching her in movies and realizing, wait a minute, this woman is awesome and mega talented and of many faces. I got that from Game of Thrones. Yeah. Anyway, and besides, she was adorable in Mamma Mia, wasn't she? Okay, what else? Oh, you were going to so love this. And I don't get this, and I don't know that it's still in effect, but in 1990, the state of Florida passed a law that there were to be no thong bathing suits. Are you kidding me right now? Really? No thong bathing suits in Florida? I don't know if that's still true. You can check. But in 1990, they passed that law. So I apologize in advance to those of you who live in Florida or love Florida. We can't all love the same places, right? And I am not a fan. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan. I used to go there, not frequently, but I used to go there because my grandmother lived in West Palm Beach. West Palm Beach. Don Rickles used to call it God's little waiting room. I swear to you, all the old Jewish people went, when they got old, that's where they went to retire, was in Florida. Right, Miami Beach, West Palm Beach. But the thing that made me so surprised was my grandmother, my grandma Millie, who was born in New York City and raised in Chicago. And when she went to Florida, after a couple of years, she had an accent like she was from Russia. I swear to you, strange things happen to people who move to Florida, especially in, senior citizen communities. I used to love to go visit, though, because they had bingo night. I loved playing bingo with the old people. Whenever somebody would call the number 66, everybody would whistle. I never knew why, but different numbers had different responses. It was like going to a senior Rocky Horror Picture Show. Bingo was like such an amazing experience. And getting bingo, hey, you lost all your friends. They didn't want you to win. They wanted to win. I swear to you, being in a senior citizen community in Florida was like being in a high school classroom. The little petty stuff that went on was hilarious. Oh, and it's where I got my first taste of dinner at 4:00 in the afternoon. I was always the kid when I was there. So we'd rent a car and I would drive because none of them drove anymore. So I would take them to dinner at the mall, at the shopping center. They have this cafeteria, all you can eat. Why they would go for all you can eat, I don't know. Because they ate teeny little amounts of things and they ate at like 3 or 4:00 in the afternoon. You want time, it should settle. It's okay. Anyway, Florida. Yeah. A lot of bugs, very muggy. I just don't get Florida. I don't get it. I don't get the magic of it. But my friend John, if you're watching, I know sometimes you're on with us in the morning. I know you love it there. And I see the pictures you post and they're beautiful. And perhaps my experience was from being with people who were old and crotchety. I don't know. But it was never my favorite place to be. Sorry. In 1934, this is for reals, John Dillinger was named America's Most Wanted, public enemy #1. It was the first time we had a public enemy. Now we have a lot of public enemies. But John Dillinger was the very first ever to be called and officially called public enemy #1. It's also the anniversary today in 2003 of the death of someone I loved to listen to, George Carlin, the hippy dippy weatherman. His comedy was so brilliant. You should listen to it, seriously, because you would swear it was today. Yeah. He was very socially oriented, politically oriented, not with specific people, but he was very strong about what he felt was right and what he felt was wrong, and famous for the 7 words you can never say on television. That was one of his bits that he was very famous for. That and the hippy dippy weatherman. He was just awesome. George Carlin, we miss you. I'm serious. If go on YouTube and listen to George Carlin. He was a brilliant man. I think it's interesting that today was also either the birthday or the death day. Must be the death day because I have years on here. The deaths in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s of today, though, of Judy Garland, Fred Astaire, and Pat Nixon. All famous people. All famous people that I've actually come in contact with in one way or another. And not very favorably. Fred Astaire lived next door to my friend Janice Gelgood. I never saw him, but whenever I'd go there, we'd peek at his house and we'd like go on Fred Astaire watch, but I never saw him. She did. But that was like my close encounter of the second kind, right? But the other 2 were close encounters of the first kind. Pat Nixon, I met when she and her husband, Tricky Dick, were at the Pomona County Fair. And I was walking back behind one of the show buildings and they came out the door. No security with them, just the 2 of them. And I wasn't a fan. I was a Kennedy fan, but I was a kid. And this was the Nixons and they were famous and I got very excited. So my brother and I went over to say hello. And basically they said, get away, kid, you're bothering me. They wouldn't talk to us. Yeah, they told us we didn't belong. You don't belong here. You need to leave. Not even a hi, thanks for saying hi. And I'm sorry, kids, but you're going to have to go. No, it was, you don't belong here. You need to leave. And the same thing happened with Judy Garland. We met her at Pacific Ocean Park. I was there with my brother and a couple of my friends from the neighborhood. We were in high school. And there's Judy Garland with her kids. Like a regular mom taking her kids to the amusement park, right? Pacific Ocean Park in Santa Monica. You've heard of it. They still have the merry-go-round there. The carousel is still there. Yeah. And we were so excited. This is Judy Garland. I mean, somewhere over the rainbow, it's Dorothy, and we're so excited. And she just gathered her little hens together, and she just crowed at us like we were garbage. And I stopped liking her on that day. And I will not like her ever again. Except she was awfully talented. But she's no longer my favorite. And she was up until then almost. All right. Today's word art by Sandye on What Do I Say, What Do I Do? I love today's word art. It says you don't have to be in the band to feel the music. But you do have to feel the music to be in the band. And I leave you with that just as it is, because even as I said it and posted it on Facebook, I said, I don't even want to insult you by explaining this to you, because I know you get it, metaphorically and actually. You have to feel it. You have to feel it. All right, kids. I don't know who's here today. I can only see numbers, so I know you're here. I just can't talk to you today. Happy, 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 happy Tuesday. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.